Kodokan, the source of the way. Tokyo, Japan. After more than 40 years in the studies of martial arts, I have learned that every serious student eventually arrives at the same realization. No matter how far we travel, how much we accomplish, or how many students we teach, there remains a responsibility to return to the source. There are places in the world that become larger than themselves, places whose influence extends far beyond their walls, places that preserve not only history but ideas. The Kodokan is one of those places. For most of my life, the Kodokan has never been a distant location in Tokyo. It has been a constant presence in my understanding of martial arts long before I became a black belt, long before I opened a dojo, long before decades of teaching and competing. I understand that many of the principles that shape modern martial art culture flowed from this institution. Standing here today is not about discovering the Kodokan, it is about appreciating it more deeply. To understand the Kodokan, one must first understand Japan. Long before the founding of Judo, Japan cultivated a culture built upon discipline, duty, respect, and continual refinement. Throughout its history, knowledge, and preserved through families, scholars, temples, shrines, and institutions of learning, the warrior traditions of Japan were never simply about combat. The ideal warrior was expected to cultivate both strength and character. He studied not only methods of conflict, but also ethics, literature, philosophy, calligraphy, and self-discipline. This pursuit of refinement became woven into Japanese culture itself. The sword was respected, but the person wielding it was expected to possess wisdom. Skill was admired, but character was considered essential. Power without self-control was viewed as dangerous. Knowledge without virtue was considered incomplete. These values existed long before the Kodokan. They formed the cultural soil from which it would eventually emerge. By the 19th century, Japan possessed numerous schools of jujitsu. Each preserved techniques, principles, and methods handed down through generations. These traditions represented centuries of accumulated experience. Yet Japan itself was changing. The old world was giving way to the modern world. It was during this period that Jigoro Kano emerged. Kano was not merely a martial artist, he was an educator, a scholar, a man deeply interested in the question of how individuals and society developed. Through his study of the classical jiu-jitsu schools, he recognized that their greatest value was not found solely in their techniques, but in the principles hidden beneath them. Efficiency, balance, self-control, mutual benefit, continual improvement. In 1882, Kano established the Kodokan. The name itself reveals his vision. Kodokan is often translated as the place for studying the way. I have always found that translation remarkable. Not the place for studying combat, not the place for studying victory, not the place for studying techniques, the place for studying the way. The word do carries tremendous significance with Japanese culture. It points toward a path of lifelong cultivation, a journey that never truly ends, a commitment to continual refinement in both skill and character. For Kano, Judo was never simply a collection of throws. It was a method of education, a vehicle of personal development, a system designed to help individuals become more useful to society and more responsible in their conduct. As I walk through the museum halls of the Kodokan, viewing the photographs, writings, and personal artifacts of Kano, I am reminded that great institutions rarely begin with grand ambitions. They begin with clear principles faithfully practiced over time. More than 140 years have passed since the founding of Kodokan. Empires have risen and fallen, wars have been fought, technology has transformed the world, yet the Kodokan remains. Not because it resisted change, but because it remained faithful to its purpose. That purpose becomes evident the moment one observes the training hall. Young students sit quietly in seiza, awaiting instruction. Their posture reflects attentiveness. Their conduct reflects respect. Before they learn how to throw, they learn how to listen. Before they learn how to compete, they learn how to conduct themselves. Before they seek achievement, they learn discipline. Many people view these traditions as formalities. They are mistaken. These customs are part of the educational process itself. They are teaching methods. They shape habits. They cultivate awareness. They train the character long before they train the technique. After a lifetime in martial arts, I have become convinced that the deepest lessons are rarely found in the spectacular moments. They are found in the daily disciplines repeated over years and decades. The principles that shape a person's conduct eventually shape his destiny. This is one of the enduring lessons of the Kodokan. The objective is not merely technical proficiency. The objective is personal refinement. To become stronger without becoming arrogant. To become skilled without becoming prideful. To becoming capable while remaining humble. That pursuit has always resonated with me because it extends far beyond the tatami. It applies to leadership. It applies to business. It applies to family. It applies to life itself. Standing here today, I do not see the Kodokan merely as the birthplace of Judo. I see it as one of the great educational institutions of the martial arts world. A place where ancient wisdom and modern education were brought together through the vision of Jigoro Kano. A place where the pursuit of excellence remains inseparable from the pursuit of character. A place that reminds us that true mastery is not measured by what we achieve, but by who we become. More than a century later, the mission remains unchanged. Students continue to arrive. Teachers continue to teach. The way continues to be studied. And the responsibility of preserving it continues to pass from one generation to the next. That is the legacy of Kodokan. That is the vision of Jigoro Kano. And that is why this place continues to inspire serious students throughout the world.
别墅里面唱 K， 水池里面饮龙鱼。我送阿硕茶具，他研磨下笔，直接给我4个字算大展宏图。大师亲手提笔注，大展宏图，搬来放在办公室，哎，大展宏图，员工都点头，有料。